Good evening, Noswaith Da, and welcome back to Met TV. Today we are at Rugby 1 at Cyncoed Campus, where today we see a Cardiff Met versus Hartpury Uni showdown. Now the Archers will be looking for another win like they did last week. The atmosphere is going, so let's have a look at how they got on.
After 2 months away, BUCS Super Rugby was finally back on Rugby 1, where we saw the Archers play host to Nottingham. After a quick start by Met, with Henry Cohen scoring after 1 minute, Gethin Cannon, on his 50th appearance for the club, received his marching orders from the referee for an attempt to slow down the play. It was the visitors who came flying out of the blocks in the second half with a tremendous team try finished by the scrum half Max Blinkhorn, bringing the green and yellows back level with the hosts.
A lovely little move on this side.
However, it didn't stay level for long, with fly half Ross McKay knocking over 3 points from the tee, followed by a routine rolling maul, with a powerhouse Max Brown crossing the whitewash. It didn't stop there for the Archers, as the rolling maul became a huge threat for Nottingham, with a substitute hooker, George Merritt, rumbling over the line before the winger Henry Cohen crossed for his second try of the game and his 6th of the season. With the game far from reach for Nottingham, Ollie Smith put the final nail in the coffin with a spectacular dash towards the try line, securing the Archers remain in 6th place with a crunch match against Hartpury at home next week in what's already speculated to be a cracking game of rugby.
Yeah, we come through and we see the Ultras going absolutely crazy over the far side. Lots of hugs, lots of high fives.
Full-time score, Cardiff Met 36, Nottingham 7.
What a huge win that was for the Archers, and someone who was there and can tell us all about it is today's commentator, Will Shepherd. Will, what improvements do you think they made in order to get that massive win after a run of bad luck?
Thank you, Neve. Yeah, it was actually improvements that we kind of saw as the game went on last week. In the first half, Met really struggled to find a point of difference between themselves and Nottingham. Completely different story in the second half. The subs made a huge impact. Max Brown and George Merritt coming on and scoring from the bench. And those fresh legs just gave Met a completely different style of attack. They had more time on the ball, and that gave themselves more opportunities to score. They managed to score from close range. They scored from outside the 22. And they'll be wanting a lot more of that today.
Well, speaking of today, we're against Hartpury, which is the top 2 side. What are they going to have to do in order to get another win tonight?
I mean, Met have come up against some tough tests this season. There is no tougher test than the one that they're going to face tonight. Hartpury's the hottest team in the league right now, and you add into the fact that these two sides have a huge rivalry. It goes back to Twickenham in 2018 when they played the BUCS Super Rugby final there. There's no love lost between them. When they met earlier in the season, the match ended with a 5-point difference between the two sides. That was at Kingsholm. Loads and loads of supporters there for Hartpury. But tonight we're at Rugby 1. You can see behind us there that the Ultras are arriving in full force. They've got a wrestler social on tonight. It's going to be a wrestle for Cardiff Met, and they often talk about the Ultras being their 16th man. All 16 men are going to need to contribute if Met can do it tonight.
Of course, always we need our Ultras, the 16th man. Now, is there any standouts on the pitch tonight, people we should look out for?
Yeah, certainly. For me, in the forwards, it's Ollie Smith. He had a huge game last week. He scored a try, 9 carries, 17 tackles, and he's going to need to step that up another level tonight. The maul is a huge threat from Hartpury. 4 of the top 6 scorers in the league are in that Hartpury forward pack. So they do have a huge threat when their maul gets rolling. Smith in the engine room is going to need to lead the whole pack against that, but he is also Met's top scoring forward, so maybe he crosses the line as well and helps put Met ahead.
Yeah, so great forwards, but what about in the back line? Who's there to look out for?
Henry Cohen is on an unbelievable run of form at the moment. He scored in this fixture earlier in the season, and he is Met's top try scorer this season. Normally, though, he has Dylan Scott on the other wing. Himself and Scott and Carrington making up a really dangerous back three for Met. No Dylan Scott today. That means I think that Cohen is going to be getting more ball on his flank. More ball also means a lot more attention from Hartpury. So a lot of defenders coming up in his face, and he's going to need to work really hard to beat them and get his team ahead today.
Yeah, obviously. So we've spoken about standouts on the pitch, but there is one unsung hero on Cyncoed Campus, which is our photographer, Carl Robertson. Let's take a look at how he's stolen the hearts of Cyncoed.
The winner is Carl Robertson.
My name's Carl Robertson. I'm a photographer and I've been covering the sport for the SU and Met Sport for around 4 years now. Varsity, 2 years ago, it was like a Davis Cup match. Watching that, it was absolutely brilliant. Got some great photos from that. You know, the celebrations, all the crowd going wild and everything. Cardiff Clash is always good. But basically everything here is an event with the students involved. They're always on the sideline chanting, screaming, shouting. It's just great. It is a really good environment. I get messages from parents the other side of the world, random emails and Twitter messages thanking them for being able to see their child playing sport thousands of miles away. It is genuinely humbling, I've got to be honest. It does. It just brings extra joy to what I do. I think that one maybe was taken from Varsity. That probably may have been a Bath away a couple of years ago. But again, it's another high impact sport. There's some great shots in that as well. But yeah, it's just again lucky to be covering all the sport up here. So over the 4 years, probably 30-40 BSR matches. I went to Exeter away in the semi-final as well a couple of years ago. So yeah, I probably covered rugby across the board, maybe well over 100 rugby matches, but BSR wise probably 30-40 odd. Like so on a Saturday, like on a Wednesday, like tomorrow, I'll be up here for 11 for the tennis. I'll finish around 8:30 for the rugby, and then editing then is at least a 12-hour process. Yeah, the rugby days are great. It's a Cardiff Clash is fantastic. I think I'm lucky enough. I think I've only seen 2 defeats out of 10 or something, and those defeats are hard. You know, at the end of the day, my work is only as good as what happens on the pitch. Teams lose, what I do doesn't really mean a great deal, but when you win, some of the photos from winning Cardiff Clashes have been amazing over the years. I say it took me to 35, 20 years of work before I found what I love. And like, this is my 15th year or so now doing it, and it's fantastic. I wouldn't change it for anything.
So here's to you, Mr. Robertson. Now Carl gives us an insight into all our sporting teams here at Cardiff Met, and someone who I think can give us a good insight into tonight's match will be Isaac March, archer and social media star. How are we, Isaac?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming. So first, let's talk about you. Why Cardiff Met?
To be honest, I live in Cardiff, so I went to Hartpury College and then I went to Hartpury University. But in the last couple of years, I met my girlfriend, so I've been living with her in Cardiff, and it just makes sense. Along with the unbelievable rugby program, I wanted to do my master's degree here. It just makes sense. I'm very glad I did.
So you document a lot of your life and sporting career over on social media. So your Cyncoed Rugby on Instagram, how did that come about?
So I was playing professional rugby in Gloucester Rugby Senior Academy, obviously earning money through that way, and then when I was released and came here, obviously you've got the sudden problem that you can't make any money. So I was doing some jobs that I hated. I was doing teacher assistant, supply teaching, working behind bars, that sort of thing. So I wanted to find a way that I could make money doing something that I enjoyed. So that's where Cyncoed Rugby came along. I started filming some tips and tricks and stuff like that, those sort of videos. And then gradually it fell into what I'm doing now, which is daily vlogs and all sorts of different content.
Yeah, so for those who might not know, why Kaizen? What does Kaizen mean?
Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy that means continuous improvement. So I've always tried to implement it in my life, and it made sense to make like a brand that involved it. I wanted to kind of create something that I wish I had as a kid, to create a brand that I had, like the tools and resources where I can inspire and help people chasing their dreams kind of do that.
Yeah, so as you've mentioned, previously a Hartpury student,
Yeah.
you're very open about your relationship with Rhys
It's all anyone cares about.
Yeah, well, we care about you as
Yeah,
well.
thank you, yeah.
But you did say that share a room with you and you'll become an international rugby player.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Do you coach your mates? Is that what you do?
No, so yeah, my first roommate at Hartpury was Stephen Varney, and he's obviously gone on to play for Italy. And then my roommate a few months after that, for the next couple of years, was Lewis. So I always say, if you roommate with me, you become a professional rugby player.
There you go,
international,
then.
sorry.
Yeah. So obviously Lewis is currently over in America.
Yeah.
Do you think the NFL like rugby players?
I think there's definitely a lot of transferable skills. I literally got asked this question the other day, which are better athletes, and I think it's so tough. You can argue back and forth for each. I think NFL athletes, they're so quick, so big, so powerful. Rugby, you've obviously got the other side of it where you're integrating all different sorts of skills and you're doing it for 80 minutes repetitively. But yeah, I think there are transferable skills. What I've seen in Lewis, for example, is he's become such a better athlete. What I think he struggled with was he's got to learn like 500 plays, or he did at the Chiefs, and then he went over to the Jaguars and had to learn a new 500. So as a back, you probably have 2 set plays, 2 or 3, 4 set plays. So it's a massive difference technically and mentally as well, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, do you feel like you get a good insight of that as a skills coach? Do you think you have an eye for it?
What do you mean? As in?
Like your skills and your coaching that you like promote online?
Yeah, you could definitely see. I mean, I ask Lewis all the time, what have you been doing, what agility stuff have you been doing, change of direction stuff, so I can try and take it back to my coaching. I did have 2 weeks with him before he went out for the Chiefs pre-season, where I just had to help him get fit and get ready for it, so I did a lot of my research at that time, and then
Yeah, so we can hear the Ultras here now. How do you think that the Cardiff Met are going to be feeling tonight? Massive win last week, but obviously it's going to be a really tough fixture tonight.
Yeah, look, I don't mind saying Hartpury are the favourites tonight. They are probably the best team in the league. They proved that last week at the moment, and battering Loughborough really. Cardiff Met, we will be nervous but excited. Which we've always tried to make Cyncoed the hardest place to come in the league, and I think it will be. It doesn't matter how good you are, it's always tough to come and play here. I've been speaking to some Hartpury fans that I know, and they said the same thing. So I think it'll be tight. I think Cardiff Met are going to have to play a certain way to beat Hartpury. So we can't kick loose because their backs and their back three, especially Corbin Smith, the fullback, he is so dangerous. I played with him for 1 season and he was unbelievable, so dangerous in attack. So we can't kick to him. Can't kick to him loosely. I think we've got to win the set piece. Obviously it's cliche, everyone says, but I think the front row will be important for Cardiff Met today. Obviously skipper Ben Murphy, he's such an important player, so we've got to dominate the scrum, be accurate in the line out, and kind of keep it a bit more of a tight, boring game, which won't suit BUCS Super Rugby, but to beat Hartpury we'll have to.
No, of course. So massive match, but also a massive week in rugby. Obviously, Gatland's tenure has come to a close as head coach of Wales. What's your opinions on that?
It's tough to have an opinion because I've never met him, never been coached by him, but looking from the outside in, all you can see is what you see on TV, and it just feels like there's always a lack of a plan, a lack of attack shape and structure. So yeah, I mean, it's probably the right decision for him to go just because things weren't going well, and sometimes you need a bit of a fresh start. I think what's important is that Wales get it really right and wait for the right opportunity, which will be after the Six Nations, to get someone in permanent, and then they'll have a good tour to Japan to kind of get things in place. There's people that have been speculated about, isn't there? So Simon Easterby, the Ireland interim coach. You've also got people like Steve Tandy. I know Michael Checker's been named, but I think I've heard in the news that he wants to go home back to his family. A random name which I would throw in there is Richard Whiffen. So he's the Wales under-20s head coach at the moment. Probably not the right time for him, and I don't think he's done that level yet, but he's one of the most intelligent, probably the best coach I've ever been coached by. He'll bring a good plan to Wales if he was involved.
There you go. So that's some fantastic insight, so thank you very much. Now, we've actually asked people on Cyncoed Campus if they think they could be Wales's head coach. Let's see what they had to say.
This is not a game. This is a job interview from hell.
Gatland has been sacked as Wales men's head coach. What we want to know is why you would make a good replacement.
I can be very bossy, good with coaching. Yeah, I've got a few years of experience in me, so I think I could coach them.
So I could have a word with the big boys up top.
Because I know more about rugby than he does, obviously.
I'm English, I don't want to coach Wales.
You could sabotage them though.
Great point.
I don't think I would. I don't know. I couldn't.
Because I play Max Llewellyn.
Maybe get some wins. Yeah, we'd actually win a game probably. Yeah.
Just be stricter, make him play better.
Who wouldn't listen to this in a men's locker room, Very I give off power, I'm authoritative, so, Crab, I feel like I could lead the team to victory. I don't know. I don't think I should at all. Sorry.
I think this has been a bloody disaster.
There you go. Make sure to get your applications in as Wales's head coach. Now the tension is building down here at Rugby 1, and another tense match last week, and I think it was so good that we're actually going to have to watch it again. Now before we hand you over to Dan Thomas and Will Shepherd up in the commentary box, we are going to take another look at last week's match.
It's an absolutely massive fixture tonight. You know, he spoke about at the start of the season securing that top 4 place, and you know, Cardiff Met started really well in this season and tailed off a little bit recently, and they're on the outside looking in at that top 4 at the moment. Back here at home, especially with the crowd that we have here at Cardiff Met, it's a huge advantage.
Again, and I see our man Henry Cohen in front of us licking his lips as he's ready to go over the try line.
And looks like Cardiff Met have turned it over. There's a little bit of afters on a lot of handbags now, lots of frustrations, boiling over a little bit. A great try for Cardiff Met. Referee's there and his arm is up for another Cardiff Met try. Try for Cardiff Met. It's Ollie Smith, he's going to go in the corner. He's shown him a clean pair of heels, and that puts the cherry on top of a brilliant win for Cardiff Met.
A tense and moody reminder of the scenes here at Rugby 1 last week. Tonight, Cyncoed Campus is the setting for one of BUCS Super Rugby's fiercest rivalries. The green shoots of spring were glimpsed by Ian Gardner's side last week in a hugely encouraging 36-7 victory over Nottingham. But tonight, Met will need to be in full bloom as they face the hottest side in the league. 9 wins on the bounce for the visitors. Kickoff for Cardiff Met v Hartpury is just a few minutes away. Before that, let's take you through the teams. Ian Gardner has made just 3 changes from the side that beat Nottingham 7 days ago. Alex Wakefield and captain Ben Murphy are joined in the front row by George Merritt, who scored from the bench. Flankers Liam Jones and Arthur Moore crossed for Met in this fixture earlier in the season, so we'll hope for more today. The ever-present Alex Terry at scrum half has his 4th different starting fly half outside him in Sam Berry, another who made an impact in coming on last week. Gus Patterson continues at 12, with Chris Johnson still out with a hip injury, while Johan Evans has forced his way into the BSR side after impressing in the Premiership. Jacob Wilmot, the only new name on the bench. The last time he appeared there at Rugby 1, he scored the bonus point try over Swansea. The Hartpury side has been a model of consistency this season, and tonight is no different. Hooker Casey Williams, second rows Liam LaRue and Khan Richards Farr, and co-captain Matthew Hillary have appeared in every match this year. Number 10, Keelan Cullen, has scored more points than anyone else in the 2024-25 BSR season. Inside centre, Wilf McCarthy scored a hat-trick against Swansea a few weeks ago and is joined in the midfield by Josiah Edwards-Giroux, who celebrates his 50th cap tonight. Thomas Hill moves from the starting lineup to the bench, while Wales Sevens international Ewan Pearce-Jones will pose a huge threat to Met's tryline if he comes on. And I am delighted to be joined by Dan Thomas. Dan, a massive evening tonight, one that could make or break Met's season.
Thanks, Will. I think we're all expecting a really exciting game here this evening at Rugby 1. And as you know, we spoke to Tom Cole earlier in the week and he emphasised how important this game is for their top 4 hopes. We all know what we're expecting here with Hartpury, 9 wins in a row. They're 3 times champions of BUCS Super Rugby. And we all know how much of such an attacking threat with their big ball carriers. Last week they scored 33 points in the first half and they average around 39.5 points a game. There's no margin for error in the defence. They need to be wary of the hooker Casey Williams, 15 tries, top try scorer of the league. However, on a plus side, there are 5 boys away with it at international duty with Wales under 20s. Dejan Gwyn started 6th last Friday versus Italy, and we all know all the players like Sebastian Negri, Harry Randall and Stephen Varney who have come through the ranks here and how strong their rugby academy here is at Hartpury.
Yeah, side with huge pedigree, Hartpury, and certainly will not be being underestimated tonight by Cardiff Met. Possibly another slightly worrying omen tonight, Dan, that Hartpury haven't lost to a Welsh side this season. They've gone 2 from 2 against Swansea, 2 from 2 against Cardiff Uni. They'll be looking to make it 6 from 6 against all Welsh opposition tonight. And we are just waiting for the 2 teams to come on. You can see there on your screens now the tunnel being formed by the substitutes from both Hartpury and Cardiff Met. The coats being worn there might give you a bit of an indication of the conditions here tonight. It is dry, but it is a cold night, Dan.
Yeah, luckily we're all wrapped up here in the gantry without gloves and hats. However, I wouldn't really want to be wearing a Bret Hart costume with all the ultras wearing their WWE costumes tonight. Some of them all wrapped up, but I wouldn't like to be wearing a vest here tonight.
No, I mean, we talk about the fact that every single week the Met players put their body on the line to get the result on the pitch, but the ultras are really putting themselves on the line to turn up tonight dressed in some of the outfits that they are. Wrestling is the theme for the night. Is really impressive. Perhaps not particularly encouraged. So any parents watching whose kids are in that crowd, don't worry. I'm sure they will keep warm by all bundling together, and probably a little bit of liquid warmth as well.
Yeah, we all saw how rowdy they were and how much of a welcome they gave Hartpury before the game. And they are the 16th man here, and I'm sure they'll be a force to be reckoned with here tonight.
Yeah, so as Hartpury run out onto the pitch, you will very shortly hear the ultras noise take itself up another level. They really were going for the Hartpury boys in the warm-up, who, to be fair, seemed to be embracing the challenge. They were doing some line-out drills right in front of those ultras, weren't they? And happy to cop the abuse coming their way.
Yeah, they definitely didn't. Well, they didn't look intimidated. They definitely stayed in that corner and showed they weren't to be messed with today. So yeah, it's going to be a very exciting game, and the ultras will play such a massive part in hopefully the outcome of this game.
Well, hopefully you heard them there as Cardiff Met ran out. Met v Hartpury, 2 unis made famous by their rugby teams, renew a rivalry that stretches back beyond Twickenham's 2018 BUCS Super Rugby final. There is always an extra edge to these fixtures, so settle into your seat and brace yourself for the theatre to come, as the second best attack in the league, that's Hartpury, face off against the second best defence in Cardiff Met. And we are underway with Sam Berry, and as that one goes high into the night sky, it ends up spilt forward by Hartpury. advantage. Met on the very first play of the game. And Terry is going to dig for that one in the ruck, and he distributes out to the right-hand side. Dumped to the ground off the ball goes Arthur Moore, and Met certainly are not happy with that. And their players just having to be moved back towards their own try line by Ben Murphy, the captain here. And it's an early sin bin for Hartpury. Just looking for the number of the player that's been sent to the bin. But he's certainly shown a card. And yet we can see a player trudging off, very disappointed with himself. And I mean, Met were going to have to take every single advantage that came their way tonight, Dan. Penalty and a man advantage on this first play of the game is really, they couldn't have asked for more than that.
Yeah, I'm sure head coach Dan Murphy will be absolutely fuming with the start they've just had there. Discipline is such a key part of this game. And being 3-0 down after just over a minute's play is an absolute disaster start for Hartpury, but a perfect start for the Archers.
Perfect start indeed. Sam Berry coming in at number 10. As we see the replay there, and just no call for that. Absolutely no call for that kind of play off the ball, and correct decision made by Craig Evans, a very experienced referee on the World Rugby 7 circuit previously, and now in the Pro 14 as well. And Met dealing with that kickoff much more effectively than Hartpury were able to do, and immediately going to the forwards. Then out to Berry, he's going to put this one up for Johan Evans, the newcomer, to chase. That one just beating everyone, and it goes over the touchline. It was advantage to the Archers, so we will come back for the penalty just outside the 22. Just a couple of minutes into the game, Dan, 2 penalties against Hartpury already.
Well, we all know how important discipline it is. You know, can win and lose your games. And for such a huge game like this, against one of your rivals, you want to be in control of the game from the start and not conceding silly penalties like that. And Richard Farr, that tip tackle, just no need. He's been such a crucial player for them this year with 7 tries, and he's played every single game. I don't think, he'll be his biggest critic there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to pick a player that you wouldn't mind having sent to the bin from a Met perspective, Kyle Richards Farr is certainly one of those. It was a good touch found by Berry, but unfortunately the Archers not able to win their own line-out ball. So here we will see Hartpury on the ball for the first time. And a big run up centre field there before they go to the boot, and Keelan Cullen kicks clear, the top scorer, as we mentioned, in the league. And now it's Henry Kerwin over on that right flank, deals with that well. Appeals from Hartpury that should be going back to the 22, but fairly certain that Kerwin gathered that inside his own 22, so all good.
I'm really unsure what he's complaining about there. You can clearly see he collected that ball inside his own 22. There's no reason at all why he's whinging there.
I suppose, I said at the start, any advantage that Met can take, and Hartpury will have the same attitude. They are able to win their own ball at the line-out, but that maul does start to get going. Mentioned that down with Neve earlier on, is going to be one of their chief attacking threats. Met stopping it here just short of halfway, though. That's a big run from co-captain Hillary. He's going to have a big impact on this game for sure. Spilt forwards by Hartpury. Now, what can Met do here with broken play? They are going to keep working this short side. They do have an overlap, but they're not able to free the hands through Cannon initially. And then on to Evans. High tackle on him there is the appeal coming in from Met. Nothing given by Evans. On to Murphy, and that's a beautiful line taken by Smith, and Berry decides to reverse play and go for the little chip kick. Is this going to make it? Just inches the right side of the corner flag. A beautiful kick from Berry. He was inside the Hartpury half, so no 50-22, but big pressure on the Hartpury defensive line out here, Dan.
Yeah, that's a well-timed kick there. by Sam Berry. Awarded a start this week after coming off the bench and impressing last week. And he showed exactly what he could do there. Big kicking game.
So we'll expect to see the maul coming in from Hartpury here to give Reece Price, their number 9, good opportunity, good platform to box kick this one nice and far down the field. He doesn't need it in the end because they get the penalty. Side entry from Cardiff Met and a free exit from Hartpury. We're just going to have a look here at Berry's kick as this ball actually stays in play. Ardal Yallop, if you want a man back there to catch a kick for you and take it back up to the defensive line, Yallop is the man. One of the standout performers for the Archers this season. Caught there in midfield though is the attack, and so suddenly on the back foot again. Berry once again putting boot to ball, and a good chase from Smith and Evans limits the time that Hartpury have to try and counter off that kick. Price with the box kick now, and that's Berry safely underneath that. Steps inside Hillary, tackle is made, and then off the feet go the Archers. Penalty to Hartpury. So after 2 early penalties against Hartpury, we've now seen a couple against the Archers. This one inside the Archers' half, and it is going to give Hartpury the opportunity to kick this ball nicely down inside the 22, as we see here. Berry trying to step back inside, and there's that side entry from Evans, keen to make a big impact, and he has made a big impact there, leaping athletically into the air to keep that ball in field. So 2 penalty kicks for touch and 2 missed opportunities to get their own throw at the line out for Hartpury. Offside here, however, and so it's going to be a 3rd Hartpury penalty. What would you be doing here, Dan? Early stages of the game, pretty much in front of the sticks, 3 points behind. Are you going for the post yourself, or are you going for the corner?
Personally, I would go for the post. You know, you're down to 14 men, sorry. You take some time off by taking the time by going to the clock, slow the play down. However, they know more than me. They've gone for the corner and hopefully go in for a try for the away side.
Well, I mean, this is how they score all the points that they do. You were saying earlier about their average points per game. They're not going to boost that average here, though. Penalty to Cardiff Met. This is becoming a bit of a stop-start game early on. Neither side managing to get much flow in possession. And a nice relieving kick here coming from Berry, as Met do see out the latest threat from Hartpury. That one going all the way up to 10 inside their own half, where Hartpury are already waiting to disrupt another line out. Met unable to win on their first throw. Will need to improve that line out if they're to have any chance in the tight against Hartpury tonight. That one is better. The maul is getting a bit of movement there, but slows down quite quickly. So Terry goes for the kick. Nice take there by Corbin Smith. He scored 5 tries this season and is certainly a counter-attacking threat for the Hartpury side. Not looking to attack from deep at the moment though, Hartpury. Another box kick put in. That one not particularly long and really well dealt with by Kerwin. Murphy. No more than a phase of play from the Archers, and they take to the skies once again. Good chase here from Patterson, but he's not able to make the tackle, and Corbin Smith almost spots the gap. Back to Cullen. Shapes the kick, sees whether anything else opens up. Low and flat in between the Archers' 2 defenders. Berry, big boot on that one. It's a torpedo punt And unfortunately for Met, it's going to go just too long over the dead ball line, and they will have to come all the way back for a defensive scrum just outside their 22. Dan, at the moment, the two teams really sort of feeling one another out, not putting too much on the line, just trying to see what's going to happen when they take the ball up.
No, it's a bit of a game like chess at the moment, trying to find out what their weaknesses are. Both teams have done analysis of each other. They know where the weaknesses are. However, both just kicking the ball away, looking for the handling errors, and eventually the error did come there by Berry, rewarding Hartpury with a scrum on the 22.
Yeah, analysis a huge part of this league. It doesn't just need us or BUCS Super Rugby to be streaming these matches. The teams actually have to make sure that every single home game they have is filmed, and that footage is then distributed to the other teams in the league so that the coaches and the players can do their analysis ahead of their following match. Scrum firm from both sides. Really nice platform. Here goes Wilf McCarthy. A real threat from 12. And Met, they do still have that man advantage in the back line, so they will hope to shut this attack down. Forgive me, I think actually Hartpury are back up to full strength. So 15 on 15 as Hartpury have their first set of phases inside the Mets red zone. Not able to make ground on that last phase. On now to Edwards Giraud, his 50th cap today. And a strong carry from Oliver Minnis. His coaches were telling me just before the game he's been a real success story for the club. Came in as a back row and was converted to a front row. Didn't really like it at first, but he's found his home now. And a real threat from there. Fast hands and over to Corbin Smith. And the first try is for Hartpury. Brilliantly taken opportunity by Corbin Smith. It is Hartpury 5, Cardiff Met 3.
Yeah, his 6th try of the season there, Corbin Smith. Shows an experience having represented America under 18s. It was coming, I felt. They were picking out the gaps, they were hitting the contact hard, and eventually Corbin did find that little gap with a dummy throw and in scoring the first points.
Lovely
of the game.
soft hands there. Wilf McCarthy actually playing at first receiver. He then passed it on to Cullen, and they just unlocked the defence. Corbin Smith, happy beneficiary, ran straight through that gap, and Cullen will attempt now to add the extras to make it 7-3. But he is having to do that from right in front of the Archers faithful. They are making every bit of noise they can to put him off his game. 52 conversions scored so far this season. Here he goes for his 53rd. And there it is for Hartpury. Met 3, Hartpury 7. As we are approaching the quarter hour mark in this one. So ultimately, Hartpury were able to see out that sin bin period really well. Yes, they conceded the 3 points on the penalty, but nothing else scored by Met. So Hartpury they'll be pretty happy with that, I think.
Yeah, after the first 5 minutes, you're thinking, Met might run away early on with this, scoring a few tries. However, I'd say they were the winners of that 10-minute period, especially being down to 14 men.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of coaches take that approach, don't they, of looking at the match in small blocks, 5 or 10-minute blocks, and certainly that's a 10-minute block that Hartpury can be very pleased with, as they can with that as well. The up and under regained by Hartpury, and play then moves forward into Met's half. Kieran Cullen catching a slightly loose pass. That's gone very, very high, and I think lost in the lights by the players on the pitch. No one really able to claim it, and then it bounces over the touchline. Edwards Giraud thought that had been touched less by Met, but I don't think it was touched by anyone. I agree with Amber, the assistant referee, Amber Stamp. She signals that is an Archers line out. George Merritt, 1 try from the bench last week, trudges over to the touchline to make this throw. And Met, as we often see, keeping their forwards back and walking into the line out to try and make it harder for their opposition to work out what the call is going to be. Call comes from Ollie Smith, rises high into the sky and takes that nice and securely. The ball works its way back to Merritt at the back of the maul. Terry wants it though. Forwards tend not to listen to the 9 when they want the ball out the maul. Eventually they do. And Evans looking to compete on this kick from Terry, giving Cullen no time. He's got to hold on to him. Does really well, and Cullen has lost that ball forward. Terry with the quick chip over the top. I'm not sure that was the right option. That's a great run by Evans to put that pressure on by Cullen. I just feel they really should have set up a platform there rather than kicking a head down.
Yeah, fair play to Johan Evans. Had a bit of a shaky start, but the boy from Aberdeen on his BUCS Super Rugby debut has really redeemed himself in the last few minutes. Maybe, yeah, as you said, keep hold onto the ball, go through the phases instead of kicking it at every opportunity they get.
That 22-metre restart from Hartpury makes it nearly to halfway. Big hits coming in on Liam Jones, but he did manage to secure the ball as his back row partner goes to work. So it was Arthur Moore that caught the ball, and Liam Jones who then took it up after that. Merritt getting himself set in defence, puts in the big hit there. Well fought through by Hartpury. Ball makes it to the back of the ruck, but only after being knocked forwards. Unfortunately for Khan Richards-Farr, who's already taken a trip to the sin bin. I think it was his hand that just knocked it forwards there as it was pushed backwards.
Yeah, slightly sloppy there at the breakdown area. George Merritt once again coming in with a tackle, and then Alex Terry just kicking the ball at every opportunity he gets. I'm really unsure what the game plan is.
Yeah, let's hope they do keep the ball in hand a little bit more if they can win this scrum. It's a good place to start an attacking phase. 10 metres into the opposition half, 15 metres in from touch, so they have options left and right. The scrum looked very, very stable from both sides before. Really good. A lot of international sides could learn some lessons from that. Maybe not so much the distribution off the back. Oh, and a big hit coming in on Carrington there. Lovely hands to Gethin Cannon. Back up to level with where the scrum was. That kick is charged down. That kick is dealt with really well by Hillary. And he has found Keir Clark on the left wing. A try from nothing from Hartpury. Counter-attacking brilliance from them. And they put themselves 2 tries in the lead.
Yeah, once again, well, just kicking the ball away unneededly. Maybe there was a bit of a gap behind there. However, you've got to make sure you get it over the defence. But yeah, straight charge down and a great finish with the pace of Keir Clark there.
As we see it again, it had been that good bust by Cannon, and then you just felt they needed to use that forward football, but the kick from Berry charged down. Hillary then getting a nice bounce into his hands and supported well by Keir Clark, who goes all the way over into that left-hand corner to give Cullen another conversion attempt right in front of the Archers supporters. In fact, even closer to them this time. They are only going to get noisier as the night goes on. Hit flat and hard once again, and same result. Conversion scored. Met 3, Hartpury Uni 14. Already a 2-score margin ahead, Hartpury, and only a quarter of the game gone. Met need to arrest this slide.
For a player who's just kicked his 54th conversion of the season, I really don't think a Hulk Hogan or Stone Cold Steve Austin is really going to distract him that much.
No, I'm sure he's played in front of many a hostile crowd and doesn't put him off his game. But you can't fault the Ultras for giving it a crack anyway. This one going very close to the touchline. In fact, it will cross. And that was taken back into the 22 by Hartpury from the Met restart. So it will be a line out inside the 22 for the Archers. This attacking platform, I feel like we've said it a couple of times now, this attacking platform they need to use. They cannot kick the ball away on it. They have to go forward ball, go through the phases, and then set themselves up the kind of platforms that they were in the second half against Nottingham. Nice line from Patterson, still going, beating the loose tackle. That ball thrown over to the support on the right-hand side, and that's Murphy charging, burrowing for the line. Will this ball come back for Alex Terry? The pick and go from Ollie Smith. He scored last week, looking for another. Terry does get his hands on the ball. He goes back to the blind side and he throws the interception. And this is going to be a full-length effort unless Joshua Carrington can get over. He gets over really well. What an incredible defensive effort from Carrington on Reece Price. Absolutely pulverises the number 9. And penalty to Cardiff Met. End-to-end stuff in this one.
That is very lucky there by Met. Alex Terry giving the ball away. What great running back there that was by Carrington and Cohen, putting the pressure on. And as we can see from the replay here, Carrington going low.
Yeah, the speed of Carrington. I was worried for a moment that we might see that as a penalty against Met because the tackle was fairly high. But I think Price, it was almost like he could feel Carrington getting closer to him. He could hear those footsteps and kind of ducked to get out the way. He went very low. And there was nothing really Carrington could do in terms of the height of that tackle. But an excellent chase back. Lesson for anyone in defence: never ever give up, even if it looks like someone is clear to the line. But Met has shown themselves there. They can get all the way to Hartpury's line. They can hold on to that ball. So more of the same needed here. It's just a slightly loose pass from Alex Terry. I think he thought that maybe Henry Kerwin was a little bit closer in. Didn't realise that there was going to be that pace off the line from Reece Price either. Going towards the back of the line, and it doesn't work out for Met. Quite a wonky throw. Loose ball dealt with by Hartpury. Just on his 22. Cullen goes high again. Another torpedo punt. Really hard for Carrington to read. Lost forwards, and he's got to get there. No, the boot coming in from Patterson. It's an offside here, as Craig Evans signals. And Cullen, he looks to be shaping for the corner this time, Dan, so I'm not going to ask you what you think he should do.
No, they'll be looking to set up a nice little driving rolling maul here. We all know 15 tries from the hooker Casey Williams. He'll be looking to make his 16 here. We haven't seen a rolling maul yet from Hartpury, so it'll be really interesting to see how they set up and how Met will be able to cope with the pressure here.
They go short, no surprise, but the ball does spill out the back. That will help Met to hold out this attack. No opportunity for Hartpury to use their maul. They go through Richards far. Now a little bit wider to Hillary. Manages to charge through that first tackle, but Yallop trying to disrupt. On to that man we were just talking about, Casey Williams, the try-scoring threat. Edward Giroux, 50 caps, and a third try for Hartpury this evening, and it is only the first half. One more will secure them the bonus point. Edward Giroux, the latest to go over. And one of the things that often frustrates me, Dan, when teams get really close to the line is they keep that point of attack so close to the ruck, and that's where the opposition is going to defend at their best. That you don't want to leave gaps next to the ruck. Hartpury moving that ball from the right to the left really well, and just finding the gap that Edward Giroux was able to power through. The defenders were there, but so much strength.
Yeah, he's been carrying the ball so hard so far this evening. Every contact he's gone into, took them backwards. He seems to get over that gain line every time, and that's a well-deserved try there on his 50th appearance, as he said.
3 kicks from 3 for Keelan Cullen. 21 points to 3, the margin now. The hill that the Archers need to climb to get themselves back into this one is rapidly becoming a bit of a mountain. Berry goes shorter this time. Hartpury get their jumpers in the wrong place, and it's cleared up in the end by Clark. Cullen deciding this time maybe they will have a go from inside their own 22. They're feeling a little bit more confident, feeling a bit more fluid. There is Edward Giroux on the ball once again. And Dylan Kurtzier, we've not seen him yet in Hartpury's attack, but he deputises at scrum half there before Price sets himself for another box kick that's coming nicely over to our gantry.
Strange one there, seeing that Emmanuel did carry the ball over the 22 and then he'd taken it inside and it's gone straight back out, so I'm not sure why he's not gone back for a line out in the 22 there.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was taken back in, but the decision is that it's going to be a Met line out just inside the Hartpury half. Has just got a slight injury delay here. Patterson looks to have something wrong with one of his fingers, so the physio just taping them up.
Hartpury already on track to beat their record last week, 33 points in the first half. They are looking very threatening. Every time they got the ball in their hand, they seem to be getting over that gain line, putting pressure on the defenders.
Yeah, they've beaten Bath and Loughborough in successive weeks, the last 2 weeks of BUCS Super Rugby. They are their closest rivals in the top 3 of the league. As they lose that ball there, it's going to be a scrum to the Archers. What the Archers have to take as a little bit of hope is that just before those games, Hartpury were only able to achieve narrow wins against Exeter and Durham, who are Met's closest rivals, the 2 teams that they have to keep pace with and have to slightly outstrip if they want to get that 4th place come the end of the regular season. 4th place, of course, being all important to secure a home quarter-final. Currently in 6th, that means they would play away in the quarters and they would face one of the big boys. No movement in that scrum from either side once again, so Yallop injects a little bit more momentum, picking and going from the base and thudding through the tackles that come his way. Ollie Smith stopped well. Berry on now towards the right hand side. And then Terry brings it back to the left. There is Murphy. He will run all night long for this Archer side. Man who plays with his heart on his sleeve and captains brilliantly. And here's the break from Joshua Carrington. Oh, what a try from Cardiff Met. Scored from well outside the 22. We mentioned that last week they scored from close range. They scored from far out. That was well outside the 22 that Josh Carrington hit that ball at pace and has raced underneath the sticks.
Not only a good try for Met there, but also for Josh Carrington's confidence. His first try since the opening week when he scored a hat-trick against Swansea. That'll do a world of good for him, and a fantastic finish there.
So we see that again, the ball distributed over towards the right touchline. Carrington spotting a gap in front of him and racing over. And the conversion unfortunately missed though by Berry from an angle he would have hoped to get it. Met can't leave any points out there tonight. They need to score all of them to get themselves back into this game. Yallop just lets that one slide through the hands. Frustrating for Met. Just as they start to get a finger hold back in the game, they will give Hartpury the opportunity to have an attacking scrum just inside the 22. And it looks actually like Bury did score that conversion. Apologies for that. Didn't see the flags go up from the assistant referees, but it is Met 10, Hartpury 21. Back to a 2-score game. So Cullen and Smith lined up very close to one another, just to the left of the scrum here. Makes me think that they might have a bit of a move planned, and Smith tracking round to that right-hand side. The ball, I think, was intended eventually to come out to him on that sweeping line, but spilt forwards by McCarthy as he tried to find Edward Giroux. And so we will have another scrum, this time Met feed, and an opportunity to move play away from their own lines.
Yeah, Met really need to make sure they keep their heads here now, as in, after scoring that try, the last thing you want to do is go on the other side and concede more points. They need to keep the game tight, take it in. 11-point deficit at half-time is not end of the world. They can score plenty of points, as we've seen how Hartpury did last week with 33 points in 1 half. It's very achievable. So if they can keep it close, I'm sure they'll be going in at half-time, probably with their heads held high.
Yeah, Hartpury arguably do have a little bit of a record this season of taking their foot off the gas a bit in the second half. They score so many points in that first half that they often feel the game is done for them by half-time. I'm sure they would disagree with me saying that, but that's what the points record would suggest.
Stats don't lie.
And Met, as we saw last week, arguably have a trend of growing into the games as they go on. So, yeah, 11 points down at half-time, as you say, certainly recoverable. And the opportunity, of course, for 10 more minutes to go until the whistle to get themselves further back into this one. That's actually a really nice clear kick from Bury. He's curled that one off the inside of the boot to get it all the way up to halfway. Advice being shouted on from the sidelines, from the Archers forwards coaches. Hartpury go to the back. That did not look straight to me, but play continues. Nice interlinking, and we do get to see Coetzee involved in a move on this occasion, and there's Smith towards the touchline as Price eventually does get the ball back to him. Slowed down well by Met, however. It's Richards Farr who takes it on, and now Cullen finds Bellamy out towards his right. Now the play speeding up a bit for Hartpury. Big hit put in by Ollie Smith on McCarthy. Nice little kick attempt coming in from Cullen, but well fielded by the Met defence, and then Cullen, in his attempt to try and repeat his feat, hits that one straight over the touchline. Met line out throw.
Some unforced errors there from the Swansea man. He might be great from the team, however we haven't seen much flair from his kicking from hands so far, but I'm sure he'll grow into the game from that perspective.
Much better throw on this occasion from Met. Nice and straight all the way to the back, and it's Liam Jones who picks the ball up out of that ruck and manages to drive on forwards, but ultimately to no avail. Penalty to Hartpury. And story that's starting to develop here from an Archer point of view is that they get on the front foot. Hartpury always have a way of responding to it, so we just watch a few moments ago Ollie Smith putting a big hit in on Wilf McCarthy. This penalty kick from Hartpury takes them to just short of Met's red zone. Not contested by Met. Prevents them all from being an option. And a nice hit from Gethin Cannon as well. The two second rows of LaRue and Richards Farr trying to combine for Hartpury. They are repelled by Met. So Hartpury go through the backs. McCarthy, and the advantage now being played by Evans. Ball quick once again, and Richards Farr is nearly through, but he spills that one forwards. Will come back for the penalty. Hartpury not in a rush here to take this penalty. They've got control of the game. They've obviously got the advantage on the scoreboard, and I expect that they are going to kick for the corner here and attempt to finally unleash Casey Williams. We haven't seen what we were expecting to see from him yet, but I'm worried that I might be tempting fate by saying that.
Well, what I was really interested there from that previous line now, Met not going in and contesting in that maul. Is that their game plan? Would they do that when they're closer to their own try line? We'll see. However, silly discipline there once again by Met with a late tackle and a no-arms tackle, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see now what Met will do in this line. Or will they stick with their game plan, or will they contest and try and steal that ball?
No contest, which should, in theory, allow them to set for the maul a lot quicker, but they are struggling to stop this attack from Hartpury, and in fact it's a penalty try. So Craig Evans not happy with how the Archers were trying to defend that, and it was a bit of a mess, frankly, Dan.
Yeah, and a yellow card there. Unsure who it is yet, however. It's just, they know that's their strength. They've scored so many tries from a rolling maul, and it proved there how powerful that is.
Automatic 7 points for Hartpury to bring up their bonus points try. And very, very frustrating for the Archers as Henry Kerwin trudges off down that far touchline towards the sin bin. Carrington wasn't going to get to that with his hands, fields it with his foot, and he's fired that into the grateful arms of the onrushing Hartpury defence. Cullen gets that kick away under pressure. Evans has moved back into the role of fullback while Carrington was further up the field. Confusion there as Berry shapes for the kick. He really needed Staton to be elsewhere.
I'm sure he'd be happy he found touch there. There was a bit of confusion, wasn't there? Johan Evans not sure whether to give it to Berry, a player out of the way, but yeah, he'll be glad to find touch there.
So Cardiff Met unable to score more than 3 points when they had a man advantage. Personally, Dan, I don't think the same is going to be true of Hartpury for this next 10 minutes. The fact as well that 10 minutes straddles half-time, two key periods in the match, the moments before and the moments after, is only going to make it harder for the Archers. Great hit put in by Patterson on Cullen in the midfield, stops that attack, forces Hartpury into the kick. Johan Evans, good pickup, beats the first tackle coming in from Bellamy, eventually taken by Hart. Counter ruck coming in from Hartpury, but Terry managing to dig for the ball and find his captain. Calling the reinforcements in this time, getting that caterpillar ruck set so that he can clear the lines. The chase coming in from Evans. He's been an absolute dynamo of energy this whole half so far, really staking his claim in his number 14 jersey. He doesn't want it to be 1 and out for him in BUCS Super Rugby, and it certainly won't be the way he's playing so far, as Hartpury do manage to make good ground off the kick reception. The Ultras making their presence known once again as play goes right in front of them. This kick's going to go not quite long enough. Carrington having to pick it up just in front of his try line. A slightly scuffed kick, but difficult to deal with for Corbin Smith. Buys the Archers a little bit of time to get their defensive line set. Over towards Keir Clark on that left wing. And then on again to Casey Williams. McCarthy at first receiver, as we have seen him before. Cullen out the back to Smith. Over to Kutsia. Wrestled to the ground by Johan Evans. And over onto the touchline. And Craig Evans is just going to check that he and his assistant referee are happy with that tackle. And he's coming for a word with the Hartpury coaches. So the theme for the Ultras tonight was wrestlers. And here we see that example being taken onto the pitch as well from Johan Evans, Dan.
Yeah, I think he's been pretty lucky there. It was a bit of an attempt of a superlex, I think, or something. Yeah, he did grab him around slightly around collar, but yeah. If I was Danny Murphy there, I'd be quite annoyed. I'm not too pleased with the decision there by Craig Evans. He did ask his assistant, however, they are sticking with the line out.
Yeah, I mean, it was right in front of his assistant, so they had a perfect view of it. Craig Evans himself wasn't far away. What was your favourite wrestling move, Dan, back in the day? I'm sure you strike me as the kind of fellow that was practising in the front room.
Well, I tell you what, me and my brother had a fair few fights back in the day in the living room. But yeah, I think I wouldn't really have a favourite one.
Dangerous play there from the Archers, not able to secure their own ball as they go for the short throw to the front of the line. Ball spilt, penalty to Hartpury. Cullen goes for the corner. And we would expect to see Met stay on the ground here, not contest in the air, get themselves set for the maul, and they will be hoping they can do a lot better than last time, which of course ended with a penalty try to Hartpury. They do disrupt that ball in the air, goes forwards in the end, and Evans signals for half-time. Cardiff Met 10, Hartpury University 28. So should have been a really bright start for Cardiff Met, Dan. They had that man advantage from just a minute in, well, under a minute in, as Edwards Farr sent to the bin for the unnecessary tackle on a player off the ball, absolutely thumping him into the ground. But they weren't able to capitalise on that.
No, I'm sure Dr. Ian Garner would have been really pleased with how the first 5 minutes went. An early sin bin, 3 points on the board. You couldn't ask for a better start against a team who scored so many points this season. 33 points last week, 28 points this week. We know how Met come out in the second half, especially against Nottingham last week, scoring just over 30 points. But yeah, I've been really impressed with Josiah Edwards-Giroud. On his 50th appearance, he's carried the ball very hard. He's been hitting every point of contact. He's been very impressive, and he really deserved that try. And then also, I think discipline's really cost Met, especially with conceding a penalty try. And to think Henry Kerwin was involved in that maul, getting that yellow card, getting sin bin. I think they really need to be checking their organisation here at half time, and they'd be hoping to come out 100 miles per hour in the second half.
Well, they are certainly going to need to. It was a lot closer at half-time last week before Met went through the gears and pulled away. 36-7, the final score on that occasion. But they have an 18-point deficit to overcome here. A 3-score game and plenty of work to be done. As you say, Edwards-Giroud, he's going to be really happy with that try on his 50th cap. And I'm sure we'll be hoping for more in the second half. From a Met point of view, they need to put the brakes on and get Henry Kerwin back on the field, back at full strength, if they are going to have the opportunity to come back in this one. Second half just a few minutes away, but before that we're going to throw you back downstairs. Neve Davis has some special guests with her.
So it's not the start that Cardiff Met would have wanted, but in more positive news, we're joined with guests that we don't usually see on Met Sport TV. I'm joined with 3 guests of the American football community. So firstly we have Jacob, Sarah and Heather. So Jacob, tell us a bit about who you are. South Wales Warriors, what is it? Tell us about it.
Oh, hi. So my name's Jacob Law. I'm the head coach of the South Wales Warriors American football team. Have been for the last 2 years. We've got a really great squad on the build at the moment. We are in Division 1 of the BAFA American Football League. We're a mixed gender sport where pretty much anyone can join at any level, whether you played or haven't played before. And we're based out in Llanharan at the moment. That's where we play all of our home games, and our season kicks off on the 20th of April.
Amazing. So we'll get a bit more into that later, but girls from the Valkyries, tell us about yours, how you differ from South Wales Warriors.
So we are the only women's contact team in Wales. Obviously there's mixed teams, but we are women only. We are in a 7-a-side league, so it's a development league. There's also a 9-a-side league as well for the women, and there's a development to the GB team of 11s. We also are recruiting right now for new players. No experience is necessary at all. Most of us don't even watch the game or play the game prior to coming along, but it's a lot of fun and it's just a great sport to get involved with.
There you go. So maybe for people who don't know and want to get involved, is there anything they need to know prior? Like, do they need to have prior skills, or is it for everyone?
Totally for everyone. It's just if you fancy a bit of contact sport, but a bit different, if you've tried rugby or anything else and don't fancy actually doing that. It's a very inclusive sport. You need a different set of skills for different positions. So, we need fast players on the wing or on running backs and receivers. We need strong players to go on the line, or O-line and D-line. So it's the different positions for different people, essentially.
Yeah, I'd say that, and it doesn't matter how tall you are, how strong you are, just come along and give it a go. My favourite thing about the sport that I tend to say is it's the Venn diagram crossover between people who are really into contact sport and people who are a little bit nerdy and love things that are a little bit technical. Because you have the contact and the fun of rugby and hitting each other, but it's really technical. You've got to learn plays on offence and on defence, and it's just so much fun.
And is that the same for the Warriors?
Yeah, we're really fortunate that we've got a really, really qualified coaching staff built with decades of experience. We have players and coaches that have been at pretty much every level in the game, from GB National to under-19s coaching and playing, and also people who have been around the sport for absolutely ages, back when our team was at its highest in its day, back in the Prem of football. And yeah, we're able to fortunately coach talent from whatever experience you have. It doesn't matter if you've never touched the sport before or if you've played it to whatever level. We're always welcoming, and I think, just to agree with everything they've said, the culture in American football is really fantastic.
Yeah, so obviously it was the Super Bowl on Sunday. Do you feel like there's anything happening in the UK to raise the profile of American football at the moment?
Well, obviously I think the sport is definitely growing. We've been really fortunate over the last however many years that there's been games played in London, and we normally have is it 3 regular season games now? We have the NFL every year, and I think people are just starting to watch it a little bit more. Obviously you've got the Taylor Swift effect of people following the Chiefs and things, but then I think people will maybe start watching, maybe get involved, join that community, and just see really how inclusive it is. I think you do have rivalries, but it's not like it is with or I won't call it soccer, but with football. It's everyone just gets along. We just enjoy watching football, playing football, talking about football. It doesn't matter who you support, it doesn't matter where you're from. It's just a great community, a great family.
Yeah, Cynthia?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really growing. I think there's over 43,000 registered players and coaches in this country, and every season it seems to get bigger. The more people I speak to, especially when we're recruiting, they we just every year a few more people seem to know more about it, want to get involved, and it's all about just reaching out, looking out, and finding your local club nearby. For us, we have a lot of rugby lads who have played before. It's how I got into it, playing rugby, and then in my off season, trying to keep fit, so I picked up American football.
So in terms of involvement, do people have to play, or do you look for volunteers, maybe non-player roles?
Yeah, absolutely. We take all the volunteers we can get. I'm really fortunate that my fiance is one of our sideline crew. She videos everything for us, and it's also about just developing that game day experience for fans as well, to make it like a thing they want to come to and see. So, you know, really presenting ourselves on the forefront of, like, you know, putting ourselves out there on social media, making sure that we show everyone the talent that we have on display, and really show them what South Wales Warriors is all about.
Well, you mentioned your fiance, and I can't let you go from you without telling me your special news. So you recently proposed to your girlfriend, and tell everyone how you did it.
So we were very fortunate to play our final regular season game of the year against Hereford. We came out of it with a 41-0 win, and at the end of the game, luckily all the team bought into the plan, and they didn't actually spoil it to her for the entire day, but they formed up a lovely ring around me at the end of the game, and they opened it up, and as she walked over, I just dropped to one knee, told her how I felt about her, and I was very fortunate that she said yes.
Very romantic. And just finally, anything from the Valkyries do you want to promote or let anyone know about joining American football in the UK?
Just that we're always recruiting. You get 3 free sessions, so if you want to come along and just give it a go, then you absolutely can. We're looking for coaches, refs, or people just to be around and be around the sport in general. So just check us out at Cardiff Valkyries, and we look forward to seeing you.
I was going to say we train every Sunday in Splot, 10:30 till 1. So just come along, give it a go.
Fab. Well, thank you so much, all of you, for talking to me. We know Jacob's a romantic, but are the students here at Cyncoed Campus as romantic as Jacob? Let's find out.
Simone Biles.
My boyfriend, Kira Walsh, plays for Chelsea now. That's the only thing we don't like. Cupid.
Right, I got to keep that one.
Meg Jones. I took a picture with her and I was like, oh my god, it's freaking me out.
I love Marcus Smith. What a great player he is.
Marcus Smith? No. Freddie Stewart.
To be fair, Femke Ball.
Ooh, probably have Rafa Nadal.
LA Kildun.
Yeah, the Emma Raducanu. That one.
Not our basketball kit we play SLB in. Not that kit. A football kit, a good football kit.
Probably netball. Netball. Men's rugby.
Yeah, men's rugby, definitely.
Rugby. Here I really like the Love for a Lightning kit. I think it is. I love purple though. That's the only reason why I absolutely love it.
Got to be Cardiff Met.
Nice. Cardiff Met, definitely.
And the spirit of love very much alive around Cardiff Met. Not so much on the pitch tonight, no love lost between these two sides. And no love lost through the rest of the league as well, Dan. I believe you've got some scores from BUCS Super Rugby for us.
Yes, we got a South Wales derby going on in the capital here tonight between Cardiff and Swansea. Swansea leading 28 points to 12 at half time. Swansea bottom of the league against 9th. It'll be an interesting battle there to see who finishes bottom. I wouldn't say Cardiff are exactly out of the top 6 chase yet, but it's a huge and important game for them. And elsewhere in Bath 7 points to Leeds Beckett 10th. Bath more or less nearly secured top 6 and be hoping to guarantee a home quarter final. And Leeds Beckett still in the hunt for top 6, but if Met push away, then they won't be able to catch up with them. And elsewhere on campus here today, Cardiff Met women's seconds also played Hartpury in the cup. However, it was a loss for Met's 2s, 17 points to 24.
Yeah, really interesting scores around BUCS Super Rugby there. Leeds Beckett being ahead of Bath at half-time is absolutely massive for that club. We drew with them and beat them in our games that we've played this season. And the other result that happened earlier on today, Loughborough, comfortable win over Nottingham to keep their place at the top of the league. As we have time now, just before the teams come back out, to have a little bit of a look at the highlights from the first half. And so we see the opening try here once again. It was Corbin Smith that burst through the gap, and then Kia Clark over on the left wing to get the second try for Hartpury as they settled into the run of things. Big, powerful try where the other two were gaps that they went through. It was a powerful one from Edward Giroux. Straight back from Josh Carrington gave Met a little bit of hope. Lovely running, real pace from the fullback there. As you mentioned, Dan, great for him to score first try since the hat-trick against Swansea in round 1. But then going back the other way for Hartpury, the rolling ball getting moving, Met having absolutely no response to it, and the penalty try awarded by Craig Evans. So 4 tries to 1 in the first half, Dan, and certainly lots for Met to improve on.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting if Met decided to do any substitutes here at half-time. As we saw last week against Nottingham, they brought on boys off the bench such as George Merritt, having that impact, scoring that try. They got plenty of options on the bench. Ross McKay, Ulster Academy product. It'd be interesting to see if he comes on to replace Sam Berry. He hasn't done much wrong, however, a great play kicker, and also Jacob Wilmot back in the matchday squad this week due to the injury of Isaac Marsh. So yeah, it'll be a really interesting second half here, and really hope we have a bit of a repeat of how exciting that first half was.
Yeah, it was exciting. It was good rugby from Hartpury especially, but also some real highlights from Cardiff Met. Certainly not being shown up by Hartpury. They are in this one, even if the scoreboard is against them. Hartpury running out first, as they did before the first 40. And I think that I was just about to say that I thought Met might lead them to get a little bit chilly in this cold Cardiff evening, but they follow them straight out and will get themselves set for a huge 40 minutes. We mentioned at the top of the game, kind of make or break for Met's aspirations to make the top 4. They will need to be the first team to score if they're to have any chance of taking the honours tonight. Keelan Cullen is going to take a little bit of a run up on this restart, well behind his halfway line. He goes down the centre of the field, and it's Arthur Moore who makes the catch. Hartpury coming in with a bit of a tussle rather than a big hit, and then on to Murphy, and that movement on the ground gives the penalty to Hartpury. Really not the start Met were looking for in this second 40.
No, Hillary over the ball there like a young Stephen Ferris, outstanding, straight over the ball. Not the start Met would have wanted.
That kick ends up about 10 metres outside Met's try line. Hartpury set to go short. Met won't contest in the air. Get themselves set. The last time that Hartpury attempted this, they spilt the ball forwards. This one only marginally more successful. A mess from the red jerseys, but they do manage to keep the ball. The spin coming in there from Richards Farr as he tries to work the short side. Price feeds it back in field. LaRue now. And on again to Minnis. And that will be the 5th try for Hartpury. It will be some afters from the Met defenders. The master student, Oliver Minnis, nonetheless does get the try. And we are going to see that before Cullen takes the kick. So a couple of hits up through the second rows. And then Price finds his tight head prop, not being stopped from that range. First score of this half, Dan, comes from Hartpury.
Yeah, Oliver Minnis there, converted from back row. Real success story, as one of the coaches said before the game. Exactly, it's not the start Met would have wanted, especially going back into the sheds at half-time, having that team talk, possibly a bit of a grilling, really, from Dr. Ian Gardner. But yeah, Their tails are up here, Hartpury, and they could put on a big score.
Starting to look that way, unfortunately, from an Archer's perspective. Met 10, Hartpury 35. And Met won't be getting back into this game without a ball. That's what we are waiting for right now. Eventually comes in from the supporters, who are still here in their numbers despite the cold, despite the scoreline. Berry putting this towards the right-hand side, and a good chase from Met. That has gone forwards by Hartpury, and Casey Williams was in an offside position as he took it, so it is penalty to Cardiff Met. Harry Rice on at scrum half. And hands it over to Berry, who puts that touch finder in. Down into the 22. Merritt there to take the throw as his forward pack. The side on the line out call. It is Wakefield who runs over to communicate that to Merritt. And Evans is just checking his watch. I think he is calling Kerwin back on here. Met, of course, having to start the half. A player down. It's a change in the back row for Met. Both flankers heading off to the sideline. Jones and Moore, their night is done. They scored in this fixture earlier in the season. They are not scoring in this one tonight. On comes Max Surrey. Max Brown is on, as well as is Will Owen. And that ball was gathered by Met, spilt onto the floor but backwards. Merritt clears it up. Athletic turn and pass from Harry Rice. Balletic, in fact. And then on to Yallop. He scored a stunner against Swansea last year from a similar position. Not able to with Hartpury's defence right now. The red wall holding relatively firm. Just a whiff of a gap there. And they caught on the left, so they will bring it back towards centre field. Max Brown, scoring from the bench last week, looking to do the same on this occasion. Rice, a little flick. Yeah, penalty to Hartpury just as that attack was starting to slow down, lose its impetus. Hartpury were able to get over the ball quicker, and they see that one out.
Yeah, Dr. Ian Garner done 5 changes there from in the first 4 minutes of the half. Really interesting. You might have, had a thought maybe keep it at half time, a couple of changes, but then as soon as you come out, concede a try straight away, get those changes on, hoping they can make an impact and get closer to Hartpury.
Yeah, nearly emptied the bench. Jacob Wilmot also on in the back line. As we see that penalty once again, Hartpury over the ball perfectly, as is their line out. Cullen kicking that right back towards the 22. Carrington with a calm take and a bit of time to decide what his next move is going to be. That move ends up being caught hard in the tackle by Ellis Hart. Does hold on to it. Yallop now trying to look for a little bit of weakness. None shown by Hartpury. Rice works this ball back. Box kick in from him. Spinning side over side through the night sky. No problem for Corbin Smith, however. And this Met defence very narrow. Cullen spots that. He puts in the kick for Edward Giroux and Clark to chase. Evans, though, as he has been all night, quick thinking in the back line for Met, finds Berry, and they are able to come away with it here a little bit, the Archers, through Will Owen. These hits from Hartpury, really, really hard, and just preventing Met from gaining any extra yards in the contact area. No one able to get a hold of that kick, and so the Met players decide to get a hold of the Hartpury ones, and we've got a bit of a scrap here going on in front of the Ultras, who will absolutely love this in their wrestler outfits, cheering on the Archers down there on the sidelines, arms being swung, and as we tend to see these days in a rugby scrap, it's mainly collars that are being pulled, no punches.
Yeah, they must have mistaken this rugby game to a Royal Rumble or something, because they're getting right stuck in there, and obviously tensions are high, blood's boiling over a bit, but yeah, only a bit of handbags on shown there.
Team manager Amber Regardo on to just calm the tensions down a little bit. Some cool words from the sideline, and calmer heads will prevail. Craig Evans is just going to call in the captains for a quick word as we see how that started. It was Max Brown who really wasn't particularly happy with how he'd been held on to as he'd attempted to chase that ball. He thought he could get there before it went out over the touchline. Merritt in as captain now with Murphy off the pitch. Evans lays down the law. Both captains agree with him, and play will continue, but it is a penalty to Hartpury. So Cullen with the opportunity to set Hartpury up inside Met's 22, an attacking line out. First real test for this rejigged back line since the half-time break. And they do have Kerwin back on, so at least numbers are even. LaRue with the take. But crossing the line out, and so penalty to Met. .25 margin between the two teams. 4 tries needed by Cardiff Met to get themselves back ahead. I think probably before that, what they're going to be thinking about is the 4-try bonus point and the losing bonus point. If they come away from this with 2 points, that is actually a pretty good result at this stage, you would say.
Yeah, it'll be a valuable 2 points if they can get that bonus point and losing bonus point. You know, they're only 2 points away from Durham now. So if Durham lose their game, you know, they're still on level on points with 5th place Durham, slowly creeping up on Exeter, who are in 4th place.
Both of those two teams still to play here at Cyncoed in the final 2 rounds of the regular season, rounds 17 and 18. Before that, they do have to go away to Loughborough. So we see more afters from the two teams and another penalty to Hartpury as the end result of it.
It's just silly from here now. It's just basics. You just keep your head. You're 25 points behind. The last thing you want to do is concede 2 penalties a row now for a bit of afters. It's just basic errors.
Yeah, I mean, Hartpury, they're not going to mind being pulled into a scrap like that. They're not going to mind the clock being wound down or players having a word spoken to them, because it all plays in their favour when they've got such a margin between themselves and the chasing Met pack. Hartpury hoping for a better line out than just a couple of moments ago. That is much better, and they play it quickly off the top. Over already to Smith, and he has Clark outside him. Good hit put in by fullback Josh Carrington. And that's the latest Hartpury attack that doesn't come to anything. We did point out at the top of the game that Cardiff Met do have the second best defence in the league in terms of points conceded, and they are showing here in glimpses why they are towards the top of the table in that respect, even though they are against one of the best attacks in the league. Driving maul coming in here from the Archers. Hartpury now getting a few more men, just stopping it for a bit. Extra bit of roll from Met. Rice struggling to get it out, so he steps back inside. This is a really nice break here. chips it on. Henry Cohen is after it. I'll tell you what, Dan, if that ball had stayed in, Henry Cohen was over in the corner. Lovely heads up rugby from Harry Rice. He was all set for the box kick, saw the gap open up in front of him, saw the space as well. That's the play that Met need.
Yeah, we all know how quick the Canadian international is. As soon as that ball gets into his hands, no one is stopping him. He would have been in that corner. I would have got Met right back into the mix here. But as we can see, Ollie Smith coming off and Athermore coming back on. Yes, with a cracking little play there by Harry Rice. Being slightly unlucky not to find the 50-22 possibly.
Safe ball on Hartpury's line out, and yeah, a bit too much going on there from Richards far, trying to get Arthur Moore in a headlock. Evans noticed it, but he's noticed that as well. He's not happy with how Moore has gone after Williams there. So the penalty count, like the scoreboard, very much in favour of Hartpury. That is an excellent kick from Keelan Cullen, just over the head of Kerwin, who was shaping to try and flick it back in field in the same way as we'd seen Johan Evans earlier in the game. Not able to, because it was flawless from Cullen. Williams in to LaRue, safely taken down. No more on this occasion, disrupted once again by Met. And on to Hart. Gets into a wrestle here. And again to LaRue. Switch back the other way. The chip from Cullen. Hand in from Met. And does end up back on the Hartpury side, but then bounces over the sideline. Assistant referee waving his arms one way then the other. He's eventually signalled a Hartpury line out, which gives them the opportunity to bring on a range of changes. Thomas Hill and George Perry both coming on, as are Oscar Wilson and Ewan Pearce-Jones.
Yeah, I've been really excited to see Ewan Pearce-Jones here. Former Glantav student, represented them at Rugby League, played Rugby Sevens also for Wales with over 50 caps. A very exciting player.
A real threat in the back line that Hartpury will be looking to unleash. He's standing wide over on the right-hand side, but for now that ball is staying tight for Hartpury in this maul that's rolling on and on. Evans just trying to get himself in the best position to see whether that's been grounded or held up. He is signalling for a penalty to Hartpury. And yeah, calling that Met have tried to collapse that maul. So Hartpury will have a second go at doing exactly the same. Replacement at hooker as well, so we'll see James Randall take the throw on this occasion as we see the penalty coming in. So that's where the maul crossed the line. The infringement had already come by that point, so Met knew that even if they held out, they were going to have to face another onslaught from Hartpury. You know, short on this occasion, set themselves for the line, and we'll see whether the replacement hooker Randall has the same nose for the try line as the man he has come on for, Williams. Met doing fairly well at holding this drive up. Taking a little time for Hartpury to get themselves set, and Met can be really chuffed with that. Slowing them all down enough, getting the ball stuck in there, and so they will be the beneficiaries at the end of it. Scrum to the Archers.
Yeah, they really needed that, especially with the maul and forward pack being such a force. And we noticed as well, Ben Murphy gone off. Now George Merritt is the new captain. So he needs to regroup the boys, get them all going. and get the ball out. You don't really want to be playing from your own try line here against Hartpury.
No, you do not, but you've got to say that the scrum probably is the area where we've seen most kind of equilibrium between the two teams. No scrum resets so far, no example of one team dominating over the other. So Met will be, I think, fairly hopeful here that they can set a solid platform for an exit. There we see some of the great costumes on show from the Ultras. You got a hat like that yourself, Dan?
Not the pink one, no. I've got a black one, but not quite a pink one.
Is that from your days ranching over in the States?
Yeah, back in my cowboy days, you know.
I'm sure that the sport broadcast course mates of yours will be seeing that cowboy hat before the end of the year. The two scrum halves not happy with that scrum there, and of course scrum halves know more about scrums than anybody else in the world, they'll tell you. So if a 9 isn't happy, then it can't be a good scrum, Dan.
No, I used to play 9 myself, and I personally believe I'm a scrum expert. I knew exactly what was going on. So yeah.
And they need it to be absolutely perfect in order to be able to just feed the ball straight into the second row.
Well, they don't even put it in straight anymore. They just put it straight back to the number 8 foot, and then they just get on with the play. So yeah.
Well, as Dan reminisces about back in my day, Ardal Yallop gets moving forwards. A great run from the base of the scrum, and Hartpury having to scramble to stop him. They are counter-rucking well, though. In the end, the ball does manage to come back on the side of the Archers as Will Owen takes it up. And Arthur Moore all the way back to Berry. That kick coming just off the outside of the boot, so it stays in field. Hartpury have 3 back. Cullen with Smith, and then he puts in the kick chase for Edward Giroux. Bounced perfectly, but Josh Carrington absolutely equal to it. The kick around the back comes in, and Johan Evans has to do well here. He does exceptionally well. Goes to the left and then cuts back to the right to get that ball back over the try line and avoid the 5-metre scrum that would have come from it had he been tackled in his own in-goal area. Excellent work from Johan Evans. He's really impressed me tonight, Dan.
Yeah, he was outstanding. The pressure coming from Pierce Jones, I generally thought it would have been back for another 5-metre scrum. But yeah, great work from Evans.
You would not know that he is a debutant at this level, as Cullen does attempt to release Pierce Jones through the hands of Oscar Wilson, who is in good try-scoring nick himself. He scored a couple of tries for Surrey's Academy in the Premiership Rugby Cup just the other weekend. And that attack broken down, penalty to Cardiff Met. So defensively, as this half kind of grows into itself, Cardiff Met are also growing into themselves. They are coming to be the equals of Hartpury when Hartpury have the ball.
Yeah, they've grown into this half a lot more now after that shaky start. And they went in the contact area, they've been really solid and been going over the ball quite well. But as we can see from this replay now, the big hit on Pierce Jones.
Cullen onto Wilson. Pierce Jones absolutely sandwiched in the tackle there by Owen and Carrington. And Berry with the opportunity to get this ball down into Hartpury territory. Doesn't find touch. So the same issues that were affecting Cullen earlier in the game now affecting his opposite number. That's up and under sliced. And the opportunity for a counter-attack now for Cardiff Met through Jacob Wilmot. Great hands! That is absolutely lovely stuff from Silman onto Surrey. The two substitutes combining beautifully there. Big hit put in on Owen. Still Met with the ball. And chip over the top from Ross McKay, the replacement fly half. Penalty to Met.
Great hands there, combining the two prop forwards, combining there in the midfield. They are showing some glimpses here. If they can kick it in the corner, get a little setup going from the line out and get them back into the game, hoping of making it an 18-point game.
Yeah, that fast play that Met were bringing there, forcing Hartpury to try and slow things down, the tackler not rolling away, and that's the reason for the penalty. So we are about to see that again. And then the stab kick over the top from Ross McKay. Well taken line out. But Hartpury straight through the middle of that maul, and it's become a real scrap for possession. Hartpury trying to hold this one up and get the scrum, and they do. So the first time that we've seen Met down into the 22 in this second half, immediately coming to an end as Hartpury get themselves the scrum.
Met might not get many more chances like that in the game, and especially straight from the line out, get a scrum coming to Hartpury. It's not ideal at all. They've got to take every single chance they've got, hoping to get some sort of outcome out of this game, whether it's a losing bonus point or a try bonus point as well. Something has to come from this game for them to try and finish in that top four.
Well, they need 3 tries to get the try bonus point, and they need 18 points to get the losing bonus point. So they are up against it in both respects, but there's 16 minutes on the clock. There is the opportunity to do both. One is not likely to come without the other. This scrum is going to be reset. I obviously tempted fate at the last one when I said we'd had no resets all evening. We are going to get another one here. Hartpury's put in. And, you know, with a 25-point margin, Dan, are you thinking at this point, you know, if you're in Cullen's boots, would you try to play away from your own lines, or are you just going to kick this one down, play the territory game?
Well, they have got a great opportunity just to kill this game off now, but they don't want to overcomplicate things. If they need to kick it away and give it with a chase with Ewan Pearce-Jones here now. But yeah, back to the penalty for Hartpury resulting from that scrum.
Yeah, seeing the inventiveness there, they did work it down on the blind side. Pearce-Jones sent chasing after it, with the ball beating him to the touchline. Free play though for Hartpury with the penalty advantage. And so it's going to be a routine clearance now for Cullen. Well, I say routine. He misses touch on that one. Ross McKay kicks it back. And this is going to be picked up before it crosses the touchline. Rice decides to put it out. He doesn't want to play kick tennis. Hartpury line out 10 metres into Met's half.
Yeah, back playing tennis there with both teams not really wanting to keep hold of the ball, but eventually it was Met who found touch, and Hartpury will restart with a line out in Met's own half.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at where that line out is, Dan, and where Cullen had taken the original penalty kick. Essentially, Hartpury's ended up with the same result. Their line out inside Met territory.
Yeah, they're not gaining much from these kicks, and it's been like that all game.
Tackle was made there, so Patterson having to release, and Cullen is going to put the ball onto his laces once again, and it's just going to be kept inside by Evans. Johan Evans is going to have a go himself. We've seen him clearing up loose ball brilliantly. We've not seen him attacking broken field play much. That kick ends up, though, well taken by Hartpury. They look to counter on the left-hand side, but not able to hold on to it. Ball spilt over the touchline.
Yeah, I've got to say, Cullen's been absolutely outstanding. From that moment in the first half, when I did say maybe his kicking from hand has been a bit dodgy, he certainly proved me wrong. And I'm sure that comment will be in the highlight reel along with his kicking masterclass.
That's one thing you can be sure of if you make a statement to the affirmative or in the opposite direction and you're proven wrong, then certainly it gets clipped up and remembered by whoever you said it about. Met taking this ball in, driving more. Rice managing to bring that kick back in towards the middle of the field from very close to the touchline. Penalty to Met. Hartpury thought they should have had it from the tackle, but the player was safely grounded, and it's taken quickly by Met over to Evans, but there was no space in front of him, so easily stopped by Hartpury, and now it's Met that are going backwards. Carrington, Met's lone try scorer, looking to create something over on that far side. Ball lost forwards. Another Met attack coming to an end.
Yeah, the game's really slowed down here in the last 5 minutes. Few tired bodies out there by Met. Hartpury keep on going. It's playing to their advantage. You keep on stopping the game, having a scrum, resetting. They're just in pure control of this game.
Yeah, they can really just go through the motions for the rest of this, Dan. You know, they don't need to score anymore to make the game safe. They don't need to score anymore to get a try bonus point, and they are certainly looking comfortable. The Ultras trying to spark up a bit more energy over on that far side. Ball straight in and straight out of that scrum, just held on to by Wilson. Nearly a knock on and an unforced error. In the end, though, he had done really well to get inside Met's half, and then the penalty is conceded off their feet. The tackle from Hartpury, and McKay gets this just inside the 22. The discussion from the Met forwards as they walk towards this line out, what call they are going to go for. They go short once again, but they play it off the top this time to keep Hartpury guessing. Quick hands in the midfield, it was building so nicely. Spilt forwards though, and Hartpury trying to counter. That's fielded well, and it shuts that down. That was a risk of a really dangerous attack coming in from Hartpury. Met will be frustrated not to have kept hold of the ball, but relieved that the counter didn't come to anything.
When you slowly think Met are, getting back into the game, there seems to be another error coming along. They just cannot keep that ball in their hands. Hartpury are tackling hard. They get into that contact area really, really strong. So yeah, it's more to do, I think, with Hartpury's strong performance and Met's lack of confidence.
Scrum turning here in favour of Hartpury, but not in the mind of Craig Evans. He has given a penalty to Met. I think he's feeling that the loose head was burrowing in on Hartpury's side, and that's my read of that penalty, Dan. I'm not sure what your thoughts are.
Just in control there. I really thought he was going to blow up and give it to Hartpury, but yeah, as in obviously driving in on an angle, resulting in a penalty to Met. So yeah, we'll see if the Archers can cross the line here.
Thing is, you did point out a few minutes ago that as a former 9, you are a scrum expert, so
I'm a scrum expert when it comes to uncontested scrums, that's all I'm saying.
Not many of those in the game these days, as Met charge for the line. Off the maul, and they think they're there. Evans does not agree. They go again. The ball's still short of the line. Another pick and go. Forwards desperate to get their hands on it. Penalty. No,
it's a try.
He has awarded the try. His arm looked to be pointed towards Hartpury, but that is a try for Cardiff Met. Second try of the game. And we'll have the replay coming in shortly to try and have a look and see who it was in the end amongst that bundle of bodies who got their hands on the ball and dotted it down.
I'm pretty sure that was Harry Silman there, the substitute. The tight head.
So we're looking for number 17, who you can see at the back there. Yeah, indeed, great spot, Dan. It is Harry Silman who's gone over there the fresher in product design. His childhood in New Zealand means he has all the skills on a rugby pitch, as does Ross McKay, who slots that conversion. Met 17, Hartpury 35. 18 points, the difference now. And we have about 10, just under 10 remaining in this game for Met to try and score 2 more tries to secure the bonus points. And just spilt forwards by Met as they attempt to gather that restart. So Hartpury with the opportunity now to strike right back. As JJ Williams goes digging for the ball, and that's scrappy there. Got to say, in the game these days, that feels like quite a long advantage for a knock-on, Dan.
Yeah, it always makes me curious how long they actually play with knock-on advantages. You see it in the senior level, on the international level. How long is it? How forward they go, or is it a time? Yeah, it's very interesting. But Craig Evans bringing it back there for a Hartpury scrum, slowing the game down once again. I'm sure Hartpury will be very happy with a little pause in play.
And free kick here to Hartpury. So, referee not happy with how long Met were taking to get set at that scrum. Not in Met's favour to slow the game down at this stage. Certainly not in their favour to cough up possession easily to Hartpury on their own 22. Quite a flat attacking line from Hartpury. Disguises the fact that they were looking to play this out wide, and a nice run there coming in from Ellis Hart, still going through 2 defenders. Bears down on the Met try line as they vary the point of attack once again. Cullen's just had so much composure when he's been sending his runners to work. Once again sending another man into contact. Wilf McCarthy, not for the first time, runs from first receiver. Great offload, keeping this attack moving. Liam LaRue now, just 5 metres out. Pick and fired over to the left-hand side. It is going to be Ellis Hart. He's going to be really pleased with that one. Instrumental in the build-up play, smashing through a couple of defenders. And in the end, he is the man that goes over on this near side to score. Yet another try for Hartpury, their 6th of the game.
Yeah, Ellis Hart there, the boy from My Stake, finishing a lovely move. Controlled by Keelan Cullen. He's been outstanding this game, controlling every start play, just bossing around the park, as you would say. So yeah, well-deserved try there once again, and has put the win out of Met's reach.
Yeah, I think the win might have been gone a little while ago, but certainly puts the opportunity for the losing bonus point out of their reach. Probably not time for another couple of tries either. Certainly not with the way Hartpury have been defending for the vast majority of this game. As Cullen lines up another conversion attempt. Swan, the tightest angle that he has faced so far. But no problem for Cullen. Adds the extras. Met 17, Hartpury 42. And it's going to be Ross McKay with the restart here, looking over to the left-hand side. It's a nice hanging kick, giving his forwards plenty of time to get underneath it. And a bit of a falcon in the end for the Hartpury forward over on the far side, who had no idea that that ball was landing on top of his head. As JJ Williams will kick this one just over halfway. Carrington leaping into the air, hit as soon as his studs scrape the grass. And on to Arthur Moore now, and McKay again with the kick. This one just fading over to the right hand side, making it particularly difficult for Corbin Smith to get underneath. He knocks it backwards. Clark is there in support. Penalty though for Cardiff Met. Great work over the ball from Henry Kerwin, and he is doing everything he can to make up for that sin bin. Important performer for this Met side, and as we talk of important performers, it's time to start having a think about the player of the match. Dan, I know there's a number of men in red shirts that have really impressed you tonight.
Yeah, it's been a proper headache trying to work out who I'm going to give player of the match to. I've been really impressed with Josiah Edwards-Giroud on his 50th appearance and having a try, but also a special mention to Corbin Smith. He's been very immaculate there, playing at full back, but my man of the match has to go to Keelan Cullen. He's been like a prime Ronan O'Gara this evening. 6 out of 6 conversions. No wonder he's the top try scorer of the league. So yeah, my man of the match goes to Keelan Cullen.
Well deserved player of the match award there for Cullen. He's absolutely bossed things in the 10 jersey for Hartpury, as he has done through much of the season. Interested, Dan, that as a Welshman, your 2 throwback references to top-level players have both been Irish.
Yeah, well, there's nothing much to cheer about being a Welsh fan at the moment, so...
but you're harking back to the past, which is what you've got.
Yeah, well, I was watching the BBC coverage on the weekend of the Ireland-Scotland game, and seeing Ronan O'Gara as a pundit reminded me of how...
Yellow card here for Cardiff Met. So unnecessary afters. There was a bit of a scrap between where play was and the right-hand touchline for Cardiff Met, and the end of that, the result is that Gus Patterson is given his marching orders, and with time left on the clock, he will not be returning to the field here. So rod slightly made for their own back. Cardiff Met will have to see out the closing moments of this game. A player down for the 2nd time in the game. All the way to the back of the line out, but spilt forward from Hartpury. Unable to take immediate advantage of the extra man. And a Met scrum as we reach the final seconds, final moments of this contest. A contest that has been dominated really from the first few minutes. I was about to say from the get-go, but not so much when they conceded that penalty off the kick-off and had a player sent to the bin. But as soon as they gathered themselves from that opening disruption, Hartpury have been the team in the ascendancy for the rest of the game. They were in the ascendancy in that scrum, so they had to be quick at the back of it, and Owen picked and went in the same way that we often see Ardal Yallop. So many subs on for Met now, really getting the opportunity to play against great opposition and stake their claim for a starting spot. That so nearly given away, but it's Carrington who does come away with it, and Carrington who finds Evans on the left-hand side. This is going to be an incredibly popular score for the debutant. The Archers are delighted with that one. For a moment it looked like Perce Jones was going to go and score at the opposite end of the field. Carrington breaking through, he's got to try himself, and this time he takes on the role of playmaker, sending Evans over.
Yeah, he really deserved that try. Carrington did so well onto the hold the ball, draw the man and give. I thought Perce Jones was going to get there in the end, but yeah, on his BUCS Super Rugby debut, I'm sure we'll see a lot more of Johan Evans in the next few games.
Yeah, I'm delighted for him with that. I would say he's been my standout performer for Met. He's gone the full 80 today. Crucial so many times when Hartpury have kicked over the top. There's been broken play, broken phase ball, and he's dealt with it really well. Couple of fantastic moments in this second half where he had to deal with really tricky ones right in front of his own try line. The extras added by Ross McKay, and it is going to end Cardiff Met 24, Hartpury 42. in this one. A comprehensive win for Hartpury, but bright moments shown by Met, and certainly one for the future there in Joanne Evans.
Yeah, that makes Hartpury now win streak to 10 games in a row. I'm not sure if that's happened before, but that was really well deserved by them, taking their record to 12 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. The next up for Hartpury would be Nottingham, and I'm almost 100% sure that secures Hartpury a home quarter-final.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see them being caught in the top 4. For me, it feels like Loughborough, Hartpury and Bath are all certain of that home quarter-final, and it's a straight shootout between Durham, Exeter and our very own Archers to try and get that final spot. In terms of where the Archers go from here, well, they've got a week off next week. They'll be delighted to have that to just reset after this one. Going from bright moments last week against Nottingham, they were heading in the right direction. Tough one tonight here against Hartpury. Now need to rally. 2 weeks' time, they go to league leaders Loughborough away.
Yeah, with 3 games left, there's literally no time for error now. Every game is crucial. We all know how important a home quarter-final is. The impact the Ultras have on the game is massive. At one point this evening, when they were warming up, I was thinking it would be much closer. I really thought the Ultras would have had a massive impact on Hartpury, but they did well to block out the noise. And that's a team that, you know, they are near the top. They could potentially go on and win this competition in Rodney Parade in a couple of months.
Yeah, just 5 points between them when they played back in October, but that was game 1 of Hartpury's now 10-game win streak. They've just got better and better since then. We mentioned their wins over Bath and Loughborough in the previous 2 weeks. So Loughborough up next for Cardiff Met. The thing that they need to cling on to is that when they played Loughborough here in round 7, they only lost by 3 points. The next time we will get to see them on Rugby 1 is on the 5th of March. Their final 2 games of the season, both taking place at Cyncoed. It's Exeter first and then Durham. When they played Exeter, they drew 29-29, so every reason to believe that on home ground they can turn that into a win. When they played Durham, they only lost by 9 points. So again, one that certainly on home ground presents them with the opportunity to take a win. Crucial games for them as they look ahead to the post-season. Tonight, the plaudits do have to go to Hartpury. They were absolutely dominant throughout this game, sharing scores around the back line, also getting one through the referee's whistle as well. Penalty try that brought up the bonus point, and a comprehensive victory.
Yeah, you can clearly see how they've scored so many points this season by averaging over 39.5 points per game. It's an incredible record. Met have been averaging 29 points a game, but they're only 6. To look at Hartpury, who are second in the league, averaging nearly 40 is an unbelievable stat. And you can see where their tries were coming from this evening. They just spread the ball so well. We didn't see much of Casey Williams today, the top try scorer. However, he kept on doing the job, doing the dirty work and getting Hartpury over that line.
Yeah, Casey Williams down to 15 tries in 15 games now. So only 1 per game, coming into this with a try record of more than 100%. As we see Ian Gardner having a chat to his troops, you know. And just as the Met players will be watching that game back in their head, we're going to have the opportunity to see it back here. Bad-tempered start to the second half. Scrap over on that far side, right in front of the wrestlers in the stands.
No one got.
That continued with another wrestling throw.
Luckily, no one was chucked over the high rope there.
Yeah, no office chairs brought in to swing around. But there were some positives in terms of the scoreboard for Met in the second half, as we see Silman once again managing to burrow through that red wall on the try line. And then this was a lovely try from Hartpury. They'd worked really well one way and then the other. And then this bit where we're going to see again how close Perce Jones got to that. That definitely goes through the hand, gets knocked down onto the ground, bounces up for Josh Carrington, who finds Johan Evans. And he runs round and almost towards the sticks. So 2 tries in this second half for Cardiff Met. But it is Hartpury that are the victors. Cardiff Met 24, Hartpury 42. 24-42 in this one. As Hartpury will be the happier team heading back up towards the 7. And we are just about now ready to hand you back down to Niamh Davis on the touchline, who has player of the match, Keelan Cullen.
Thank you, Shep. So, as he said, I'm joined with Kieran Cullen, man of the match. How are you feeling?
Yeah, buzzing for the boys. You know, we've come back in. We just spoke about it there. We had a nice month and a bit off over Christmas. You know, we come back in on the 6th of Jan, and we've been on a 6-week block to chase the top 2. And you know, I think we've solidified a good option to be there now when we come back after the week off. Definitely, like you said, you sit in top 2. What do you put your success down this season? I think we were disappointed last year that we finished 3rd, and you know, we lost in that semi-final. But we had a big focus on this year getting Hartpury back to where it belongs. You know, we haven't competed at the level that we think we should have over the last few years, and I think now we're on a road to getting back to where we should belong. Will you celebrate big now, or is it just locking straight back in, ready for your next match? I mean, you know, we'll have a good laugh on the bus on the way back home, and I'm sure a couple of lads will go out tonight. But you know, we've got 8 days off now to regroup, recover, get the bodies right, and then you know, we've got 3 league games left anyway before the playoffs. Yeah. So what's your aspirations for the rest of the season then? I think, you know, we just spoke about it there. We went 9 unbeaten last year, and this is our 10th today. So, you know, we've already got a new record there, but you know, we've got 3 league games left, so that makes it 13, and then we want to go all the way and make it 16. So. Definitely. Well, thank you for your time. Thank
Congratulations
you very much.
on Man of the Match.
Thank you.
So now we have Dr. Ian Gardner. Commiserations. How do you think about the boys' game today?
Yeah, as you said, it was really disappointing. Yeah. We had a good second half performance last week, which we hope to carry through, but we didn't really get going. We didn't really fire a shot, and in fairness to Hartpury, they were really, really efficient, and you know, they took their opportunities really well, so all credit to those. Yeah, well, in the second half there was a real change in Met. Do you see that as a success, even though you lost? I suppose like it could have been a lot worse. No, there was a couple of decent individual performances, a couple of boys on the bench. So Will Owen played well from the bench, although Sam Berry at 10 had a good game, but we just made too many errors. A lack of discipline is sort of a recurring theme a little bit with us at the moment, and you know, it's costing us. And when you come up against a team like Hartpury, we're full of confidence at the moment. They just hear them saying they're 10 in the row, and 10 unbeaten on the row. It's difficult to play, and so within accuracy, within discipline, you feed a team like that, and these are the results, and they were worthy winners. Yeah, it was obviously going to be a tough fixture, but is this going to be a big confidence knock for Met, or are you just straight back in training and just ready for the next one? Well, it's a case of we got a few days off now, so you said the boys are going to have a couple of beers tonight, and sort of we'll have a look at the video for it, but you know, I said we didn't really fire a shot against them, and they were comfortable winners, so we've got to look at that, and it doesn't come any tougher than going away to Loughborough in the next game, so we've got to dust ourselves down and get ourselves ready for that game. Yeah, exactly. Well, good luck for the next match. Thanks for talking to me today. No problem at all. And that's it from me today. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you to everyone up in commentary. And we're going to leave you on a bit more of a positive note as we take a look at last week's match. Happy to go?
Yeah. Hello, I'm Joe Towns, and I'm the Programme Director of the Sport Broadcast Master's Degree. The Sport Broadcast MSc is all about live production skills, sports broadcast journalism and content creation, whether that's for social media, for podcasts, long-form documentaries or short-form TikTok. On the Sport Broadcast Master's Degree, we try and cover every possible role that you could find in the contemporary sports media industry. We want our students to be prepared for all of them, whether that's behind the camera, directing, producing, editing, operating replays, directing a live stream, or if it's on screen, reporting, presenting, commentating. We've designed this course as the perfect stepping stone into the sport broadcast media industry. In terms of broadcast facilities, we have a fully equipped Adobe Lab, which is our newsroom, a TV news gallery, a radio room, brand new podcast studio, and out on the sports fields we have gantries and galleries so that we can live stream football and rugby every week. This course is a practical course, it's hands-on, it's vocational. We really pride ourselves that we're trying to create students that are multi-skilled and ready to take their career in any direction when they leave us. The big advantage of running this course on this campus here at Cardiff Met is that there is elite sport every week, whether that's Wednesday as part of the BUCS competition or so many of our teams play in National League sporting competitions on the weekend. On a Wednesday afternoon, our students could be directing a live stream of BUCS Super Rugby. They might be filming highlights for a live football match, presenting a radio show, making a podcast, or doing a live TV Up the Archer sports preview show. As well as weekly BUCS fixtures, we also cover some really big events on campus, whether that's our varsity day against Bath University.
It's Cardiff Clash. Cardiff Met versus Cardiff University.
Clash on the Court, a triple header in the Archers Arena where we show netball, women's basketball, men's basketball, or the Cardiff Met Sports Awards, a massive event in a hotel in the city where we do all of the VTs and production for what is a brilliant way to round off the year. Across the city and across Wales, we have some very well established relationships with the industry, so our students have opportunities the whole year long to go out on placements. If you're a Welsh speaker, then we allow all students to submit any of their coursework in the medium of Welsh. We also have some fantastic opportunities in the Welsh sports broadcast industry. The sport broadcast industry is a fast-changing, ever-evolving space. We're really proud that so many of our graduates go on to work in the industry. There's all sorts of possible opportunities for the students to explore once they finish the sport broadcast master's degree.